Man, I'm really actually stuck. It's also too early.
Nick, didn't you tell me that you woke up at 11 or 7 and it's
Yeah.
11:45?
Uh, cut that, cut that.
Let's take a spin. Hey everybody, welcome back to Let's Take a Spin. We have a great episode today. And first off, I want to say thank you for being here as always. It's a pleasure to be building this community, and I love having you guys here. And if you guys are looking at my glasses, yes, I have to wear blue light glasses. Like, my eyes are getting really tired looking at screens all day, so I have these at home. Anyway, wear your blue light glasses. We have a really great episode for you today. Today we got Nick Lombardo, a good friend of mine, great songwriter, great guitarist, and we talk everything about him and his band, The Decent Okay. I've seen them a bunch this year, and they have a bunch of shows lined up. You should definitely go check them out. Check out their date schedule, their gig schedule. But real quick, I just want to talk about my stuff real fast. I'm going to be on the road a little bit the rest of the year, and then hopefully next year I have some big announcements. But for now, November 22nd, the Rob Tait Band will be at Dharma Bums with the Elephant the Band. And it's just the two of us. It's going to be a great night of music in New Hope. It's my first time bringing original music to New Hope. So if you live out that way, please come say hi. And then on New Year's Eve, we have Chill AF New Year's Eve. It's the third annual. It's going to be a blast. This is the only alternative in the Philly area for just a chill time. It's 3 acts, and you can either go in the downstairs or the upstairs with Fat Lady Brewing Company. It's a great time. There's seating. You don't have to go crazy, and, it's chill. It's an alternative to everything else going on that night, so I highly recommend coming to hang out with us on New Year's Eve in Manioc or in the Philly area. Come and hang out with us at Fat Lady Brewing. Now, I do want to talk about Nick. Nick and I have been friends for a while. He's been with this band for about 3 to 4 years, this group of folks, and they've recently put out a record called Still Falling Down, and they're very proud of it. It's a great EP. It's got, I think it's 4 tracks, and they're great. They sound phenomenal. Ted Audio did the production. It's fantastic, and the songwriting is great. I really recommend going all the way to the end of this episode. We even talk about butt tattoos, which I know you guys all love. And and with that, here is Nick Lombardo of The Decent Okay.
This is my first day of fun employment, and
Yay!
I still woke up ready to go because my brain is just hardwired for a 7 o'clock wake up, I think. So
Well, that's true. When your body's used to that time, it still doesn't know that you're in fun employment. It just knows
yeah,
that this is the time that we wake up.
this is the time that we do it. It needs to adjust. It needs to
Well, the
adjust
brain
quickly.
the brain needs time, right? But you just left your teaching job. Of God, how long were you teaching?
That's it. I was teaching for 12 years, actually. 12 years in South Philly. Yeah, well, I taught basically everywhere. North Philly, West Philly, South Philly, and but I just felt like I needed a break. So everything was coming to a head, and I just was like, I think the my values with education just stopped matching what I wanted to do, and I just felt like it's time to take a break for a little bit.
Well,
So
your
yeah,
values in
12 years.
education, what does that mean?
Um, I really am like a big advocate of like project-based learning. It's really doing some like experimental things in the classroom.
Mhm.
Over the last like 2 years, my school transitioned to like a scripted program. Just like didn't want to do it.
Like
And it felt like I was like a robot in
Mhm.
school every day, kind of like teaching this scripted curriculum that I couldn't deviate from.
When you
I
say
didn't want to
scripted,
do that.
well, when you say scripted, does that mean like they give you the lesson plans and the stuff that you have to teach?
Yeah,
Like you
in
have
the
no
past.
creativity.
Yeah, in the past it was like, here are the topics that you have to cover. Here's like an objective, but like I had a lot of freedom to do like anything, like debates. I could make my own tests, quizzes. I could do art projects in the room. And this year I was handed like this literally like pre-made script. I had to like annotate someone else's lesson and like submit it to my boss. And the whole time I was just thinking like this is so low level. Like why are we doing this? And there's just like a bunch of things that I just felt like I just didn't agree with. Like it wasn't challenging the students in the way that I thought was meaningful. Um, and they had to use a computer every day in class, and so that was getting into like chat GPT issues. Basically, students like copying anything and everything from the first Google search that they could find,
Mm.
um, which was really unfortunate because I don't know. I'm just an advocate of using using things on paper, and I guess being a little old school, considering this is the first time I'm using like AirPods in class. But yeah, so I just felt like, the way that my classroom was being forced to go was more kind of like a compliance than like an educational, but and it was mandated from the administration, and which was just really unfortunate. So I just figured it's time to just pivot, and I released a record on my last day of school in fashion. I wanted to leave on a good note and do that and try something else for a little bit. So
Was that
that's what I
planned,
did.
or it was just like a happy circumstance
I think it
or
was a
accident?
little bit of both. It was a little bit of both. I think we had the record packaged and ready to go. You listened to like little samples like in the summer, and then once I put my resignation in, I told the guys in the band, I was like, I'm going out with the band. Like, let's just release it on the last day. And I also wanted to. I told all the students so they weren't like super bummed out on the last day. I'm like, we're gonna listen to music and party on the last day. And do that.
That's really sweet,
So
though.
so it was fun. It was cool. And I'm actually really glad that you're asking about my education world because I feel like it's like a totally separate thing that I do. Um, but my students have always been my biggest supporters. It's been so fun, like having them in the classroom, and then they're very conscious of like what I do outside of school, and they're very interested. And I taught guitar as well, and so kids were always. I was always showing them videos of you and John Gilbride and Emily Drinker, and be like, "These are my friends outside of school that do these crazy big concerts and stuff." And it just helps create like a really nice tight knit community, and just fun. Like bonus points if you stream the record. Like what? Like let's go. So it's kind of fun.
Well, actually, I was going to ask. Well, we'll get back to the education stuff, but you did kind of create your own fan base out of your students. Like you put your first record out, and then immediately you were. I know this because 3 years ago, 4 years ago, you were plugging it to your students, and you immediately had a fan base.
Yeah, it's so funny because James and I joke. We're like, all right, like in like 5 years, there's going to be a million people at the bar once they turn 21. But
But you got to
oh my
keep making
god,
music until then. It's just like
yeah,
we know it's coming. It's not
we're
here
gonna
yet.
we're gonna reap the benefits later. No, they and it's so funny because now, like we just had a gig at Vinyl, and former students came to that. I've had former students come to 12 Steps Down to see us.
Which is a
Um,
restaurant bar for
Restaurant bar.
anybody who's not in the Philly area.
Yeah, I've had, I always get DMs and support Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok too. Yeah, I think like my students got to see like the daily process of me like recording this record and seeing the build up, and I would give them little like snapshots of the songs or whatever at the end of class, and they've been always incredibly supportive, and now some of them are 23, 24, and we basically hang out now. So
That's
uh,
so
yeah,
cool.
it's really cool. Yeah, it's been really nice. So
Well, I'm just curious because this kind of leads into my next question. What would you show them in class that made them so interactive with your stuff?
going back to like the Zoom days,
Hmm.
like in 2020, when I had just been working with Skylar Jenkins, who's a wonderful photographer and filmographer, and yeah, just makes all these incredible music videos. I was like really like in the editing process with uh, Skylar. And like on Zoom class in the pandemic, there was just so much time to kill. So I'd be like, I'd do like a shared screen and be like, what do you think about this scene and stuff? And they could really see me like making not only the music, but like seeing like a visual concept, which was cool. And those students bought in. And then once the pandemic ended and then I was like in the classroom, then they could like really like meet me and see me and all these questions about the music stuff. So other things that I made it interactive. I mean, specifically like in my guitar class, there was a there was a moment where the kids actually like wanted to learn one of my songs called Gerard Avenue, and They wanted to learn Save Somebody. You know, a lot of my songs aren't like crazy difficult to learn how to play for like beginner kids. So I printed the chords for them and we learned how to play them. And one of my favorite memories from teaching at my last school was that when I did release my record, the kids announced it over the loudspeaker and then they
Oh,
played it. They played it like every single day for like a week. And it was just so hilarious. I was like, it was amazing.
that's
Like the
really
whole school,
adorable.
yeah, the whole school was just like just vibing to the music. That was really awesome. So,
Did the teachers
yeah.
care? Were they supportive, or was it pretty much just the students?
Well, I thought that the teachers care. I have a lot of teachers come to shows. I mean, one thing that, Josh Steingart, drummer in the band and Philly music legend, he's always like, dude, Nick, you always get a lot of like other people out to your shows, which is cool. Like you get like there's always people from my education world that will show up or whatever. So I've always felt really supported by them too, especially like on my last day last week. Everyone's like, "When's your next show? We're coming. We're gonna help support all that stuff." So I've always felt like the community that's I've been surrounded in over the last couple of years has just been absolutely fantastic. So
I
I,
find
I
that
think for
beautiful,
that.
though. You kind of like from nothing created this fan base of young kids, and now they're growing up, and now you have this fan base that's growing and growing. And
Yeah.
although you left the school system, I think that that's really going to help you out in the long run.
I really hope that I've planted some seeds. So, and I can't wait to. It's been such a wild experience, like growing this project. I think I'm in like, I officially started recording in 2019, and now it's 2024. So it's been about 5 years I've been working with Josh. But I don't think you know this. I want to tell you this real quick. Is my whole like music career, a lot of people are like, when did you start this? I used to play in the auditorium. I would bring my like amp after class and just like put it in the auditorium and I would just like play aggressively loud in the auditorium. We had this, you know, an old auditorium from like the 1920s, like that classic like Philly extra reverby like kind of thing. And I would just go down there and just like blast guitar and the security guard, we became like really good friends, and he introduced me to his friend who owns a rap studio, and I started working with Reese Family. And Reese was on like my first record, and we did Wasted together, and like the whole like musical experience like started via the classroom. So,
That's so cool. Your first connections
yeah.
are via the classroom. And what's his studio? Reese's studio called?
Uh, Banga Productions.
Okay.
He works out of in Southwest Philly. But yeah,
Okay.
but I gotta pay him a visit. We were just chatting the other day. I haven't seen him in so.
Well, I know that you did the first batch of songs with him, and that took a while, on its own. But what was that process like when the first time you went into the studio, like with these tunes that you've been playing, in school, out of school? Like, what was that first process like for you?
Man, my first experience was this. I met another rapper in Southwest, and he invited me over. But I recorded like a scratch demo track at his place, and there was two students who had been suspended and expelled
Oh shit.
in his house, and they were like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" And I was like, "I'm here to record some music," and then they were like gambling on playing. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna record some music here, and that was just hilarious to me that these kids had gotten like suspended, and I was just there like recording music with them. And so I had this like scratch like project that was all I just did everything like within like 2 hours maybe, and I brought it to Milk Boy because I had been doing all the Milk Boy open mics, and Tommy Joyner, who was like kind of like a big advocate for me to do something with my music. He was like, "Oh, it's good, but I don't know if if we're ready, like, do some stuff." And I just have all these like really rough ideas. Like, I wish I could look back and see what those are like. But then I found Ted Richardson, and we just have this like iconic bond in which we, over the pandemic, just created these amazing tracks and he really helped me like flesh all my ideas out in a way that I never could only dream of. So, shout out to Ted.
Yeah, and around the same time, you like were beginning to form your band, the Decent OK, which, by the way, we need this on video or in writing. What is the origin of the name The Decent Okay? Because
Yes.
Spotify, everything else, you're Nick Lombardo and The Decent Okay. What is The Decent Okay?
The Decent Okay. The Decent Okay is a very average, great, awesome band. So, um,
I
the
thought it was going to be a reference to something. You're like, no, no, no. It's just we're describing us.
the
Just kidding.
Decent Okay. I've had people come up to me and be like, "Dude, Nick Lombardo and the Decent Okay is a mouthful. Just go by the Decent Okay." And I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, my stepfather had a band called the Plazlowskis, and
That's
it
a good
was
name.
like, yeah, it was like Plazz Owski. It was like the
Ooh.
Plazlowskis. So it was like this, like, I don't know, funny name, a little bit humble, and I just when I had the idea of like making this band, I was really just doing it by myself. And I had a couple teachers that I was working with. Shout out to an old friend of mine, Brent Howard, and Chaz Hager, and I don't know, I just wanted like some humble name because the Decent Okay. We were just
But
all right. And I hadn't met Josh or James. I hadn't really met musically with Ethan yet. So the Decent Okay was just like this funny, humble name that I just took from my stepfather.
but why did you want a decent, humble name? Is it what was the thinking behind it?
The think I think because it's not very good. No, 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 I don't know. The Decent Humble name.
Was it?
I
Well, let me
just
ask you this way: was it just a name that like it stuck, or was there a reason for like? Did you have like a creative mindset? Like we want the name to be humble because we don't want to seem egotistical.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm getting at. I thought also it'd be like corny to call us like Nick Lombardo and the exceptionally awesome people or something like that. Nick Lombardo and the Fantastic or something. I like
Well,
the
then you're
humble
gonna get sued by
nature.
Marvel, like the Fantastic
Yeah, yeah,
Four,
we can't
and
do
then it's a
that.
whole thing.
Yeah.
No, no, no.
Yeah, just I figured just let's set the expectations here, and then when people come see us, they're gonna be like, "Oh wow, they are actually awesome. We want them back." So, and I feel like that's generally been the vibe when I've gone out and played. Is people are like, "Wow, you guys are amazing." The last sound guy that we worked with, Johnny at Fat Lady, he was like, "Dude, you guys need to change your name because you're way better than Decent Okay." And I like when people say that. So
So that's
it's
the
nice to
plan
be
is
a
to
little
keep it
humble,
though.
just to keep it a little. Yeah. Why, do you have other ideas? Are
I
you?
don't. I prefer the thing that came naturally, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Because
I didn't.
like you can kind of ride on the you guys are better than decent okay and just keep riding on that. You may run into an issue of like people not wanting to see you because like they're just decent okay, but the minute people
Mm.
see you, then it's a different story.
Yeah. All of these things that you were asking me, I've definitely thought before. I'm like, do people, are they just like gonna downplay us because there's like, but I think I just want to like buy into that and dive deeper into we're just like the average Joes. Like dodgeball, the average Joes, they're the champions,
That's
of
that's true.
of what?
In fact, I think you should use it like that, which
Yeah.
is the average Joe's won the championship. The decent okay will also win the championship or something
Exactly.
like that. But yeah, you talk about humble beginnings. You don't have a website. I'm sure that's intentional, or just like there's too much to do, or is it just that you prefer connecting with fans, on the typical socials, and that's enough.
Yeah, the social game it's been really nice. Like I like the personal connection. I like people adding us after they've heard us. Even this weekend, James and I had a gig down in Jersey. We love playing at the shore. Shout out to Ship Bottom. But like people will come and talk to us, and then they'll ask for stickers and things like that. So basically, I really like the word of mouth. Maybe now that I'm fun employed, I'll put some money into the to having an actual website. But that might be the next thing to get us some more traction.
You don't need it, but it's really nice, especially now that you're fun employed and you're gonna be playing a lot more.
I think I'm also just gonna go on Broad Street and run down the street with decent okay tattooed on my ass, and that'll get as much attention as well. So
I don't think you want that attention.
okay.
Because then you're gonna have to well, you'll have to go to jail and get your mugshot and then your butt mugshot too.
See, yeah, there's the next album
Although
cover, I think.
the merch makes itself if you do that. You're
Yeah,
wearing like a thong and it has like a decent okay on your butt on the right cheek and the name of the record on the left.
we're playing the long game, Ralph. Playing the long game. It'll pay off later.
Yeah, I know that game very well. So, can you tell me the story about meeting these particular folks that are in your band, in the Decent Okay?
Sure. Who do you want to go with first? You
That
want
is
to
your
go?
call. You can kind of go in order.
Okay. All right. Chronological is good. Let's do chronological. I guess. Well, I met Ethan kind of with
This is
John
Ethan
Gilbride and
Kane.
you. Ethan
Yeah.
Kane, the lovely bass player with the gorgeous vocals.
Hmm.
I met him like out and about at, like music events, but never really like connected with him musically until after like my first record was done.
Hmm.
But Ted Richardson introduced me to Josh Steingard, and we just like clicked like that in the studio, and then we've been best friends ever since. So when we were working on Never Been Better, I remember. I guess the first song that we really recorded together was Save Somebody. And when Josh came in, he just crushed it. And I said, wow, it felt so good. And we just had so much fun throughout the recording process with all those songs. And he just made the whole project come alive. So I met Josh, at TED Audio in Germantown. And then I was working with Mark Franzen on bass, who was incredibly talented as well, and he's all over the music scene. He's working with the California Honeycrafts right now, doing like photography and stuff and all that, like band management. Um, but then, like when we started getting all these live shows, like I was like, I need to find someone amazing, and then Ethan King just like not really fit the spot. Um, and then James Garfield during the pandemic. I had just finished that first record. Like James wasn't even on the first record. Um, James worked at the local bar, 12 Steps, down on the corner. And my neighbor, who owned 12 Steps, was like, "You gotta meet this guy, James. He's the best guitar player I've ever heard of in my life." And he just like ended up coming down the street one day, and he had a guitar, and I had a guitar, and we just hit it off. And then James and I we were just in it. We had nothing better than to than just form the band. So uh, I just met James on the street, and that's been the story of the Decent Okay.
Was it pretty easy getting those three and yourself to kind of gel?
Yeah, I remember the first rehearsal with James at Stein's house, and everyone's eyes just like lit up. They're like, "Whoa, this guy can play." And James is like the star of the show. I just love letting him rip. So he's really talented, and he's just an incredible writer too. Like I think the best thing about James um, is that he has an English literary degree. He just knows how to communicate all of my ideas so much better than I can. Like I'll have like these rough choruses or rough verses, and then he'll just get like really involved. Like he'll just take it on himself, and then he'll go home and he'll come back and be like, "Oh, I like this verse, this verse, this verse," and then he just helps
When he
flesh out the
says
whole
when you
project.
say he has this verse, you mean lyrically or like?
Yeah, sometimes lyrically, it's funny. We're about like sometimes like I'll end up writing like a whole song. Sometimes James will. Sometimes it's like 50-50, or I don't know. Like for example, the first record on our newest track, "She Doesn't Live Here Anymore." Like James wrote, I would say like 90% of that song. Um, that's a James tune. But like Chelsea Tomorrow, like I wrote that in two used, and then James wrote Still Falling Down. So like lyrically, yeah, and even like with his just his guitar playing, like I think he can do things that I can't, and it just like helps. Like he'll create some better riffs or whatever to like really capture the essence of what the song needs, and so it's just been an awesome partnership to have. And
No, it's good to have like a collaborator to write with because then you have somebody to bounce ideas off. Like sometimes I'll write tunes and I'll bring them to my crew and it's kind of like what I say goes, but they have suggestions. But it must be really nice to have a McCartney to your Lennon and be able to bounce ideas off somebody and
yeah,
it be collaborative.
yeah, it's like really it's like really inspiring just to hear his ideas, and now that I'm off, like we're really looking forward to like writing some new stuff together, and we've got a couple things in the books, like I would say.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah, it's very good.
out of this new record that you and the band have put together, is there a specific song that you can point to and go, "That's the band. That's us right now"? Would it be Chelsea?
That's a great question. I love this. That's such a hard question because the record has these two very different genres like smacked together.
What are
It
they?
has like it has like this country blues with like the
Hmm.
first two songs, and then the last two songs are like indie pop punky like rocky, and we always like kind of blend between those two genres. I really love Chelsea Tomorrow. I think the chorus is beautiful. I even like workshop that with Ethan. I think that is like when I think of the decent okay, I think like Chelsea Tomorrow. That's perfect. It's got the rockin' like honky tonk James solos and um it had Ethan's backup vocals like shining through. It's just like a beautiful song to sing. So I think Chelsea Tomorrow. Uh, and then we surprise everyone with Still Falling Down, which is kind of like a indie rock banger, I think.
I think so. Is there a particular reason why you named the record that?
Still Falling Down.
Hmm.
Also like I can't remember the intricacies of like how we came up with that idea. I think we just like wanted to end. I think because like the last song was named Still Falling Down, we just like wanted to title it so like everyone would listen to each track to get to like that final moment.
Okay.
Um, and honestly, like the idea of me just like falling down off of this wall, I just like really wanted to do this. I really
Oh, like
wanted to
the
get,
imagery. You wanted the
yeah,
cover.
I
Yeah.
was thinking of the imagery. I really wanted to get duct taped to the wall for some reason, and so have some fun with it. I just thought it would be a cool photo op, I guess. Um,
That's okay. The
yeah.
imagery is just as important. Like that's one thing I didn't do enough of when I made this batch for myself is I didn't think
Mm.
like marketing wise like, oh, what makes the most sense visually. Maybe we don't need to do that. But it's funny that you bring that up. I was just watching the show Scrubs.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a minute.
There's an episode of where I can't remember the blonde actress's name, but she gets taped up to the side of the wall and I thought of you. Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's great
Yeah,
though.
I Jess, I had my girlfriend come tape me up to the wall, and then like I was like trying to direct her because it was just the two of us, and I'm like plastered there, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna fall like right here, and I'm just gonna just splat out, and she's like on the ground like with her camera like this, and like the tape was not gonna hold at all. So
No.
I just literally like fly down on top of her, just crush the ground. And she's like, "You didn't tell me you were gonna fall." I was like, "That was the whole point." I was like, "I was gonna fall." Yeah. And then she was like, and then we're like looking through the photos later. She's like, "This is amazing." I was like, "Yeah, it's hilarious." So,
And
um,
so that's real panic on your face that you're gonna fall.
yeah, like no. Also, like no cushion, no cushion. I
Oh,
definitely, yeah. I
Nick.
was like, we had very limited time. I After I had my resignation in, I was like, I need to get this done, this done, this done, this done, so I can get the record out, October 25th. So we just kind of just speed ran everything. Ethan, we, is always a proponent of like a lyric. He's mentioned like wanting some sort of lyric for an homage as a title. Well, we always throw ideas around, but
I'm sorry. Can
yeah.
you extrapolate? I don't know what you mean.
Oh, earlier you had asked me like, how did you come up with the title?
Hmm.
But I know Ethan has been a proponent of like using some sort of like lyric that's
Oh
in a
yes.
song. Yeah. Um, I think what I was thinking was just I was thinking of more of like a visual experience, still falling down and just hitting positive rock bottom. So I guess so.
Well, you mentioned rock bottom. I noticed a theme throughout your music, and if you want to talk about it, I'm totally open. But again,
Yeah.
this is up to you. A lot of your music revolves around getting really messed up by drinking.
Yeah. Um,
Is that something that like was intentional or just kind of came out? Are you thinking about it a lot lately?
I didn't realize how much damage I was doing to myself throughout like my 20s, and I think whenever I write, I think I'm like it's therapy, and I'm like trying to get these stories out and hash it out of my system. And I think I've had some really tough times, with quote unquote alcoholism, if you want to call it that. And luckily, over the last like year and a half or so, shout out to my therapist. been really great. But I don't think it was, to me, like it wasn't like that obvious. Like I feel like it's interesting that you're like, dude, all these songs are have some sort of like drinking theme in them. And as I'm writing them, I'm like, all right, there's a little bit of drinking, whatever. And it's the same thing as like if you're drinking, all right, there's like a little bit in here, but then you don't realize, oh, this is actually your entire body of work. And I want to
Not the
remove,
entire body.
yeah, but I want to remove myself, I think, from that narrative, I guess.
Okay. Well, here I
But
will
I
say
think,
this, but here real
yeah,
quick, I'm not shaming you at all. Like a
no,
lot of my
no,
record
it's
is the same,
yeah,
but it's music is either love, sex,
yeah,
drinking, or partying,
yeah,
or depressing music. It's kind of like those big five, right?
yeah,
So I feel like a lot of modern music is that, and I'm not like so. I was just curious more than anything.
yeah. No, I think sometimes if I've had like yeah, sometimes it's just been a lot about alcohol, drinking, partying. Um, and I think when I sit down and write and reflect, I have these experiences that I'm like I want to share them because I'm sure there's other people that are thinking the same things. In fact, like that song, like the refrain in Two Used is that oh shoot, what is the refrain? What? Oh gosh, I forget my own song. And too used to feeling like this.
hmm
And it's like I'm tired of feeling like this. Like I have to live with my regret. It's like the pre-chord, living with my regret. I'm too used to feeling like this. It's like I I just hit a point in my life where I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I just I want to not feel guilt or embarrassed for my decisions and my actions.
hmm
And, there's been a lot of times where I've gotten way too carried away. I've been like the ultimate partier. And I think,
You're not alone.
yeah, I appreciate that. So, I think it's funny because then I was driving home the other day and I was like, man, why doesn't that song say, I have no regrets, right? But the song says, I have to live with my regret. And it's like, oh man, I actually, scarred up myself a little bit and it's okay. It's okay. So I want to, maybe the next batch of songs will only be about sex then. So,
And how is Nick at sex? He's decent, okay.
Nick's pretty decent. Okay, yeah, yeah.
Sorry, Jess. Ahead of
Yeah.
time. But speaking of experiences, though, you were talking a lot about like things you had kind of gone through in terms of the band stuff.
Yeah.
Hey again, we're gonna get right back to the episode with Nick Lombardo, but first we have to talk about something really important to me, which is my record At the End of the World is available. I can't even speak. It's my own damn podcast. Anyway, my vinyl and CD, my record is available for purchase on my store, robtait.store, or you can go to the website robtait.net and you can grab it there. You can grab it at a show, like a pre-order, or you can get it sent to you. It takes a little longer, but I promise it's worth the wait. You can even purchase the exclusive vinyl, which has a very distinct color, and I'm very proud of it. You can see it on the store itself. But thank you so much. And now back to the podcast. What's like the most memorable show you've had so far?
Oh
Like you guys have
man.
only been a band for what, 4 years, and this lineup only for 3. So like, what's the most memorable show you've had, and maybe some blunders you've come across
Oh man. It's
or
funny
endured?
because I mean I love every show that we've done has been like some sort of like learning opportunity and all that. But the best show, well, we did a show at Dobbs that was an absolute banger for the whole closure. We
This
did
is
like
Dobbs
a
on South Street. This is
yeah
after they reopened, and then they closed again before they closed
yeah
again for the last time. Okay.
yeah. We did this show and I think it was literally from stage to back window, and it was
hmm
just so much fun. People were just going crazy. It felt like we were larger than life, and we all dressed up for it in different tracksuits, and we just made a whole thing about it. That was a really fun, awesome show. Um, Man, some of the shows at the Grape Room were just so great. I miss the Grape Room so much. And then I don't know. I think oh, one of my favorite shows was we did Silk City with Landon Conrath. That was we opened up for Landon Conrath, and that was a full packed house. That
I
was
don't know
just
him.
great. He's like a Midwest indie pop guy. And we have that whole performance on film on YouTube. Shout out to Light and Sound Studio. That was like that to me felt like one of our iconic shows. Just so much fun. I'm actually wearing the shirt I wore on stage that day. All right, sweet.
Oh, nice.
Some more. Um, yeah, and then I think I think those like three shows will probably be like my most memorable like experiences. Maybe a Dawson Street pub one here or there. Um, but I'm really looking forward to taking off and doing some more big bangers like that. We have got some good shows coming up. Kung Fu Necktie, Dawson Street. We're going to Penn State to do like a house show in 2 weeks. That'll be fun.
That's a
So
lot. That's great, man. This is all before the
yeah,
end of the year.
yeah,
You got a lot going on. I love it, dude.
yeah. Got a lot going on.
If there's
So,
somebody you could, speaking of a lot going on, is there somebody or a band you're allowed to do any single with right now that would make sense to Nick Lombardo and the Decent Okay? Who would that be?
what?
Like somebody who's working now, and maybe not like somebody who's like super famous, somebody that you actually like our stuff would gel and it would make sense.
Man, you're gonna have to cut some airtime because I got to think about that.
That's fine.
Because
The-
I only listen to like old shit.
well, here, what if they're dead?
If they're dead, I would love to record with the band.
Oh yeah, I mean, who wouldn't?
I mean,
You
yeah,
you do a version of God, what song do you do of theirs?
we do Ophelia.
Yeah,
We do Up on Cripple Creek now too, which is kind of fun. Speaking about like memorable, sorry, backtrack, but like
that's fine.
we just did a show at Vinyl like 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
We did like a 3 hour gig. Every moment of that performance was so much fun. Like I felt like we had hit a real high there. Like that was I'm still like I don't know. I'm still inspired by that night. That was a really great night. We just did like 3 hours of like covers and our original stuff. And man, that was awesome too. But man, a current artist, give me some ideas. Who do you think we would match well with?
Well, for you, like you said, you kind of I sent you somebody a while back.
I
Here,
love Sabrina Carpenter. We wouldn't match
you
well, but
do.
I could do. James and I
That's
started learning.
interesting.
We started, James and I, we always try to find new stuff to play for our duo gigs, and we were trying to learn Please, Please, Please and Espresso and put our own flavor on it. I like that. Man, who do I love right now?
Oh, I sent you somebody here. Where's this guy? Hold on, I'm gonna have to click this.
Please.
It's the Crying Day Care Choir.
Okay.
Yeah, Crying Day Care Choir. And there's one of their songs popped up on my one of my lists or whatever, and I found that this guy sounds a lot like Nick,
Hmm.
and you would sound really good with them.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'll resend it. But yeah, for me, I have a few folks I would like to record with. I did want to record with Zach Bryan, but lately it's not a great choice right now.
Yeah.
Because everything he's going through. Tyler Childers, Stapleton,
Hmm.
and maybe people lower than that. Like there's a couple folks I'm hoping to record with: Sarah Gross, Chris Jacobs, maybe
I
like
want to
Drew
do a
Angus,
song with Glorilla. That's what I want to do.
Glorilla.
She's freaking awesome.
But is it
Um,
just that? Do you think you would sound well together, or is it just that you like their music so much? Like I would like to do something with you.
I just like their music and just love to dance and have fun. I don't know.
Hmm.
That's such a great question. I have noticed over the it's like especially like 2 or 3 years, like, I've definitely faded away from like a lot of the current music for sure because I've just been working with our own stuff or whatever. I get stuck and listen to my own same old stuff. Um, so Tyler Childers, you said that's a good one. Yeah, Zach Bryan going through some stuff. I don't know. Maybe Emily Drinker. That'd be
Hmm.
sweet. We've done some tunes together. Uh, let's see. Man, I'm really actually stuck. It's also too early.
Nick, didn't you tell me that you woke up at 11 or 7 and it's
Yeah.
11:45?
Uh, cut that. Let's see. I'm gonna have to scan through my. Let's go to Spotify. Who's like top 40? Man.
Well, here,
Uh,
let me ask a better question. What's like a modern lyric that you'd wish you had written?
Dude, you think I would know that? Oh my gosh.
Well, you said you were learning
No,
Sabrina Carpenter. Is there a song in Please 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 that you like that you wish you had written?
no,
Is there a
no,
song? Is there a line by the band that you wish that you had written?
no, no.
Okay,
No,
that's interesting.
no. I think the only reason why I'm saying that is I literally just I can't think of anything right now. I don't know, man. I can't think of anything right now. We're gonna have to ask me that again when I can function.
Well, here, let me ask you this then. You know, you guys have been together for 4 years, 3 years. What's the song that you guys jam out to at rehearsal that you typically don't at like a show? Is there
Mm.
something that you rock out to in the maybe the rehearsal space people don't realize you guys have in the bag somewhere?
Well, ooh, maybe recently just started that though. Oh, we do Mississippi Queen sometimes. That's
Really?
hilarious. Yeah, that's really funny. Um, what else do we have we rips from time to time? Um, Maybe some Alan Stone. I love maybe one of okay, an artist that I would love to work with from that's current right now is Alan Stone. I think
Mm,
maybe like early days of Nick Lombardo and disco. I guess it's still early, but like especially like my first record, very heavily influenced by Alan Stone. That was
really? I
further
wouldn't
part
know that.
historically. That's yeah. I love man. I love like even his performances on YouTube just by himself without even like his whole ensemble have been like so inspiring to me. I'm trying to think. You know, like usually like when we're preparing for a show, we just have like a list of songs that we're just like working with right now. So usually what you see is what you get, man. I think maybe some like Led Zeppelin stuff that we've done. I should pull up our most recent set list because obviously not everything makes it into.
No, 100%. Like I have a back catalog of covers that we can do. We haven't done in a while, but like yeah, same thing. Like we have a batch of covers that we sometimes throw in depending on how we feel or who's on the gig too,
Yeah,
which is a
for
whole
sure.
other conversation.
Actually, can I ask you a question then? I'm
Yeah.
curious, what has been like your most memorable show now that you've asked me?
My most memorable show. We did a record release about 2 weeks ago, and the sound was perfect.
I
The
was
night
there.
was, yeah,
It was
and I'm so
perfect.
thankful that you were there. Like Joe, who does the sound at the 118 North in Wayne, PA. He did a phenomenal job. The band was on fire, and it just felt. You know when something just feels like I don't have to think about it. It's easy. Like it felt like that. I barely thought I was able to just perform, and I felt connected to everyone. Like, you know, sometimes
Mm.
like when you perform on a stage, you know that you're working and it's really hard to connect with people. But that's like half the point of performing live is telling your stories of your songs and seeing people resonate with those things. And I could hear people reacting to certain lines. Like we played two new songs that I'd written, one with Emily and one that was one of my new ones that we are still hashing out, and it's still like, you know, just getting up with its baby legs, right?
Yeah.
And there were a couple lines I'd written in there. It's like, I wonder if these will get reactions. Like I mentioned Trump in one of them. And when I knew when I got to that line, I would be able to tell if people were still into the song or if they weren't. And the moment I
Yeah.
got to the song, like people cajoled and cheered, and I was like, okay, this song is holding up. So it felt really nice to know that I still had everyone with me throughout almost the entire show, and it for me, having the drums in the front and singing is still very new.
Mm.
And that was the first time I felt like this is home.
Mm.
So, like, feeling comfortable, knowing that everyone had their stuff together. I didn't have to cue anything much.
Mm. Mm.
And being able and having the connection with the audience was really great. And I think that it's only going to get better for me specifically. Yeah, I'm just thankful I didn't have to deal with any hecklers like you
Yeah.
see
Oh,
comedians sometimes do.
yeah.
So
I don't think I've ever had maybe like only like one or two real hecklers, I think, but it would never. Have you had some bad ones? Have you had some?
when I play solo at like cover things, I'll run
Yeah.
into problems. But what's your heckler story?
It might have just been at the grape room when this dude, when the grape room, you're like on top of like the stage,
Yep.
on top of the crowd. I think there
Hmm.
was just this guy in front of me that was just so blasted that he couldn't function, and I think he was eventually like escorted out, I think, or just like
Hmm.
pushed to the side. So it wasn't that like that traumatizing. I can't really think of like a really, really crazy like player experience. Some guy, some guy did puke on the stage. Well, not really, when you play at McGillen's.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is hilarious. James and I had just went up to go play because we must have been like working on No One Else and like releasing No One Else or something. So sometimes James and I will pop up to McGillen's and try some new stuff. And this dude just puked all over, like right where we were standing, and we were like, "This is this is a Thursday night McGillen's vibe." Yeah, this is Thursday night. And we love that. Like James and I love that stuff. Like those things just go down in memory. Like I'll never forget those little moments. So, heckler or a hurler? What?
Heckler or Hurler? That's the name of your next record.
Yeah.
It's all about
I,
sex. It's called Heckler and Hurler.
I just pulled up like our cover list here. I was something. Oh, dude. Here. Okay, we've only done these songs like once,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm just gonna change the subject real quick. We did Yellow at where was that? We did Yellow at Vinyl. Dude, people went nuts, running back
Mm-hmm.
from the bathroom just to be on the dance floor. I don't know. What else? Oh, we'll throw in a little Taylor Swift. We did. That was fun.
Well, talking about
Uh,
Coldplay, especially the early stuff, I think there's like a 2000s nostalgia that isn't
yeah,
overdone with the early Coldplay stuff.
yeah. I feel like I never really hear like local bands like with Coldplay. Like
Well,
so, I
they
felt like that was. I don't know. I could be totally wrong, but I feel like I never really heard anyone do Yellow live. I don't know. That was kind of fun one
I've heard
to do.
Yellow. The one that I sometimes hear is like
Fix You. Okay.
Fix You, and sometimes The Scientist, but that's about it.
Yeah. I don't know.
But like
I like.
for me, like the whole Viva La Vida record, even though like they've been sued a bajillion times over it, is their
Mm,
best record.
yeah.
That one and
I even remember seeing them on like CBS Morning News, like having them do like a whole concert, and I was like, what, it's 18 maybe? Is that like sound right about 18, 17?
when were you born?
Oh, I'm a 90, so I'm trying to think when I
Oh, I
was.
am too. So that would have made sense. You would have been 2008. That would have been probably a little after Viva La Vida or around that time, maybe Milo Xyloto,
Okay.
which is
Another
the
fun
next
one.
record.
I love doing CCR with James, which he's like,
Why?
you don't want to do. I think his guitar is just perfect for the song, and uh, just I love CCR. I just
Hmm.
love it. I love the old rock and roll stuff. I love the old 70s.
I do too. In fact, I used to before I started doing the original stuff more, I used to play a lot of the 70s and 60s older stuff that like my dad and I would play,
Hmm.
and and my now wife called me out on it, and she said like you gotta play some new stuff like this, you're playing to like people that are 20, and yet that music's made for people who are 50 to 60, and I
Yeah,
was like, you're right. So I had to learn a whole bunch of new stuff, which was honestly great because that's how I found those other artists that I had mentioned earlier.
yeah. James and I have messed around with little Zach Bryan. Yeah, I mean that's why we're looking up Sabrina Carpenter right now. James, you gotta follow my girl.
But you gotta, are you doing it like you, or are you doing it like the record?
I think. Well, we're doing it like me because I cannot reach her range, so
Well,
we're
no, I
kind of
mean like
making it our own.
I guess I mean arrangement wise, right? Are you making it more rock?
Um, we just started workshopping it, but I imagine we're gonna make it a little bit more rock, just like enough that people like know that this is the fun new song, but we're gonna try to do it our way. Who else? I also like, man, we've tried to do some funny stuff, the two of us, like Olivia Rodrigo.
Hmm.
I'm looking through some old playlists here while you up. But yeah, I don't know. So I should be looking into what are like top two artists I should try to do a song for. You were saying earlier.
Of
Fielders.
well, that's the stuff that I listen to. Stuff that you would sound good on. Here, who did I just list? It was Crying Day Care Choir. Well, have you gone down the rabbit hole of like the top 40 at all?
Uh, Actually, I was just looking at the top 40 last week because we were getting ready for our gig down the shore.
Hmm.
a lot of names that I honestly still haven't even dove into. Oh, Charlie XCX.
Mm-hmm.
Jess loves it. We can't do that. Yeah, like we got to do some more research, like for our new listeners out here.
Yeah, but like do stuff that makes sense with the songs you have out. You know,
Yeah,
don't play Sabrina Carpenter because you feel like you have to, but like do something that makes sense so that like thematically they're like, oh, I like the way they sound. Oh, the other stuff sounds like it.
yeah. You don't ever want to get into that realm where you're like trying to like force something just because you have to feel like I gotta do it. You know,
Exactly.
it's gotta come like naturally. Like we're not, we're conscious enough to know not to make it an incredibly hard listen, I guess.
Well, not that it's a hard listen. I think it just if you play stuff, you sound like yourself.
Yeah. I think we could do even James and I. We could even do like some cool Post Malone together, which would be kind of cool.
Yeah, like you probably could pull off the "I Had Some Help" song.
See, right? Yeah.
That
I've
gets
ever
requested a
listened to
lot.
that one. Okay. I don't know if I can hear how it goes like off the top of my head, but
Well, here, do it after the show. But okay, well, you had mentioned that you have some stuff coming up,
so
secretive, and I was just gonna ask, like, do you mind sharing what some of those next big
secrets.
plans are?
The next big plans. Man.
Secrets?
Secrets.
Secret time.
Our next shows. Is that what you're getting at?
Well, next shows, and also, like, do you have, like, some songs in the bank that you're planning on going and record again? Like, already starting the next batch?
We'll be at Dawson Street Pub November 16th, and then we'll be at Kung Fu Necktie December 21st. And those are our next big things. So, very excited to, like, close out the year.
What about next year?
Next year, nothing booked. So if you have any ideas, no, we have a couple of leads that we're trying to track down, but we don't have anything booked for post January with the full group yet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our next homework. James and I were just talking about that. We got to send some emails to see.
Yeah, booking day, although stressful, is the most important day.
Yeah. So.
I'm right there with you, by the way.
Yeah, I'm confident. You know, we got a bunch of new stuff. People are going to want to hear it. People are going to want to hear it.
I mean, the new record's great, too.
Yeah.
Still Falling Down is available everywhere for streaming. Make sure to go follow it. It's going to be in the show notes. And if you want people to go find you, where would you like them to hit you up? Instagram?
You should find me on
the
9th Street.
Yeah. Oh, no, on Broad Street with running down naked with your decent okay butt tattoo.
Get these cheeks. Come get. No, please don't.
Actually, side note, you should do the what are the removable tattoos called? A henna, decent okay, henna like for sale at your shows.
That would be sick.
If that's the next like cover idea, you should have henna tattoos.
All right, so we're scrapbooking right now. This is
You're seeing it live.
We're seeing it live. I'm gonna get tattoos, removable henna tattoos, or for our next show. That'd be really fun to give it.
I think that's a really fun. That's like not standard. People will enjoy that.
We do have a bunch of T-shirts and merch and stickers.
Yeah.
One thing really fun, I don't know. We just decided to do like a T-shirt giveaway, and like people like commented from like all over, the like friends that I haven't heard from since like high school. They were like, "Oh, like we could get a band T-shirt and we could do that." So I was kind of cool that. So I might want to look into some more merch opportunities. I like the tattoo idea. Thanks, Rob.
That's fun. Well, what would be really good is if Jess is your partner. Mm-hmm. Our girlfriend.
Yeah, Jess.
See if Jess will like work the tattoo stand, and she can like if they buy one, she'll put it on you like right now, like at the show. But like have it be interactive. Do it like one time.
Dude, don't threaten her with a good time. She'll run that show, man. She will.
That's what I mean. But make it fun.
Yeah, she's gonna have. She'll love that. One thing I am gonna do, I guess, marketing wise, is now that I'm off, one of the best things I ever did was. Set out like a table in the middle of the street, QR codes and stick free giveaway stuff. Man, now that I'm fun employed, I'm gonna be out in these streets literally promoting a new record.
What does that mean? I'm just because now I might take some of these ideas. So you went to a random street. You set up a table with all your stuff. Were you playing?
During the Italian Market Festival, I just had a table with a QR code and I had my boombox, just blasting all my music. Like, and I said, "Hey, do you like this? Take a sticker. You have to for a free sticker. You gotta scan the QR code, kind of thing."
Did you find that worked
And
really well?
hell yeah, it did. It was great, and I met so many cool people. And I think I'm gonna do the same thing now that I'm off. I want to do a little free giveaway event where I just pull up to a street and just do that. So yeah, you should do
Have you
that.
ever done it like on a corner, just nothing's happening, but people are there?
No, and that's what I want to do. I want to
Okay.
try that. Like literally, like I'm talking like this week. Like off, I want to just maybe even put it up in Love Park next to the portal. Go to the portal.
Just be careful with
Enforcement, law
people who
enforcement.
no, not even law enforcement. People that are not 100% there, just getting violent with you. I would just be
Yeah,
careful.
yeah.
Hey Nick, thank you so much for coming on the pod. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Rob. Rob, that was
All right, everyone,
awesome.
go check out Nick's stuff, and Nick, I'll see you later, man.
See ya. That was fun. Bye bye.
Let's take a spin.